Okay, we have right at 1 o'clock, so I'm going to do everything I can to get you out of here at 1 o'clock. And I may go through some slides a little faster than others, but we'll see how that goes. So welcome, thank you for being here. I hope you've had a good time. If you're anything like me, you can't help but stop and talk to all of our students that you see around there. I just got through talking to a young lady named Amber, who is the planning officer for our JROTC, and she was guarding that elevator like nobody's business. And if you walk by the elevator, Amber was going to make sure you knew the elevator was there and you had a chance to ride it. And it was so much fun to see our students greeting at the different doors. And I love the fact that we place an emphasis on students learning how to engage adults and have meaningful conversations, and those critical life skills will make them successful in the future. So if you didn't know, my name is Fred, and I have the privilege of serving Georgetown ISD as Superintendent of Schools. I'm going to give you a snapshot of a few points, and we're going to go over some key points I think we need to talk about and you need to hear about our district, and hopefully I'll cover highlights that are of interest to you. First thing I want to remind you is that we do have 18 campuses. A lot of people don't remember that we have our JJAAP and our GAP facility that are really important campuses in our district, and you see the rest of them there. We have 12,200 students, over 1,800 staff members. And every year we hire a lot of new teachers and staff every year with our growth, and we're excited about the induction that's going on in that process. We have dual language programs. Hopefully you got to see some kiddos upstairs talking about dual language from Pearl Elementary. They're precious. Just love to see our students tell their story. Full day pre-K is something we're proud of. Our board chose to offer full day pre-K several years ago, even though it was a budget commitment. It was a challenging budget commitment, but we offered it anyway, and now we're glad the state is starting to fund that program again. And we cover 184 square miles. So we are a pretty large district geographically speaking, and we're excited about what the future holds. Another snapshot, our SAT scores are doing really well. We're excited about that. We always want to get better. Our graduation rate is high, but we always want everyone to graduate high school in Georgetown ISD, but we are seeing an improvement in those areas. One of the things that's interesting about the funding of that is that our board committed to funding PSAT and SAT for all students. And that was just a few years ago, and we've seen the percentage of students participating in PSAT go up 116%, and about a 500% increase in students participating in SAT since that time. And our board's commitment to that was no student should be denied the opportunity to see if they have the chance to pursue college through this testing. We want to get them ready. Regardless of your zip code, regardless of who your parents are, what your educational background is, we want you to have that chance to take that assessment. I'll often laugh when people talk about the importance of SAT, and it is critical. And I think a reflection of our performance there is how students are growing throughout the educational process. Education is an event, it's a process, a long-term process. It's not an event. And we want every child to grow from when they came to us into the opportunity that should they pursue college, we have to help them be prepared for that. Here's some ways to get involved. We have volunteers in the district. Today we're 5,757 strong volunteers, men and women in Georgetown, Texas, that pour into our kids. Very proud of that. I see many of you in this room that are district partners and that they're engaged in our schools. And people have asked, do you have volunteers? And we have Sun City. Of course we have volunteers. And Sun City has been a tremendous partner, and they're constantly pouring into our lives. If you want to know about the role of Sun City and Georgetown ISD, you ask John Copeland. That man will tell you everything about what Sun City does for our schools. There's other ways for you to get involved in our district, and we hope you'll choose to join us. Obviously, the Education Foundation is a critical partner. You see men like Jensen, men like Greg Bowden who helped start this. Josh Schrader was a key player in getting the Education Foundation launched with Jerry Hammerlin. And the men and women who serve on that board truly do a lot of work to raise money to fund innovative teaching opportunities. I'm constantly telling teachers and staff, do all you can to get those grant funds. They're challenging us to give away more money. So please encourage our staff to do that and run into them. We have to talk about this bunch real quick. This is an important topic because the Board of Trustees is a critical role. They've been given a sacred trust. They are in charge of securing the future of our community's children. And what I'll tell you about this board is they push us, they challenge us. They are very diverse in a sense, but also on that team of 8, you see about 18 students represented in our schools. One of the things we need to say a couple of things about them. Elizabeth McFarland is our newest trustee. Elizabeth have kids. They'll go through Ford and Minold and GHS. She's an attorney by trade. But Elizabeth brings a great lens to the work. Since the day I met her, she's pushed us to be more innovative in Georgetown ISD. She also served on the Education Foundation board and still does. But she's been a great new addition. You have Marcos Gonzalez, who's somewhere around here today. He's probably in the room. I see him right there.
Not only is he a great soccer player, allegedly, but Marcos is born and raised in Georgetown, Texas. Crystal teaches at Eastview High School. His kids go to Eastview and Pearl. And one of the things that's neat about Marcos is he and Crystal have modeled how hometown people embrace the new high school that comes to town. And by being all about Eastview High School and their kids' journey in that process. You see Ben Stewart. I met Ben Stewart at a PTA. Well, he was the PTA president at Carver when I met him. We met at a zoning, the first time we zoned the new Carver Elementary. And Ben started getting involved in our work from that time on. And he and his wife Sarah's here as well, and they have kiddos in our schools, and one's at Carver and one's at Wagner. But Ben brings a great perspective to all the fast growth side of our community, and he is truly concerned about all kids. See David Phillips. David Phillips is a great advocate for social and emotional learning of our students. David's background, his profession has been critical to helping us and bringing that lens to the Board of Trustees about what we can do to help our students and secure their emotional health. You see Melanie Dunham, who's our board secretary. Melanie Dunham is one of the most amazing child advocates you'll ever see. She's very sensitive to the needs of all of our students. She pushes back on a lot of things. If don't you do anything, it's going to hurt our kids. But Melanie's a tremendous advocate for our students. She has 4 kids all throughout the system. She happens to have one at Texas A&M. So, you see, Andy Webb is our board vice president. Andy Webb has 2 kiddos in the schools. He's engaged throughout the community. Has a great pulse on everything happening all things Georgetown. And you see, our board president is Scott Stribling. Scott Stribling, what you don't know about Scott, is he has families that have deep roots in public education. Scott Stribling's grandfather and father were school leaders, and he has a great lens of what school districts should be, and is wise beyond his age. Although he looks like he is graying there a little. I am older than Scott, but so Scott is wise, a very wise person, and his leadership as board president has been tremendous and has been critical to this board being strong, this board being focused on students, focused on securing the future, and they've been able to weather some pretty challenging storms. And I've been very impressed with their leadership. The picture to the left is a fun day. They pushed us this past year. They said, look, if we get any new money through the budget, and we did get new money, a little over $1 million through the growth, because we exceeded our growth projections in our budget, we wanted to go back to our people. So the board pushed us to create the teacher incentive, the employee retention incentive. And we were able to give out money to all district employees right before Christmas break. That was something they pushed us very hard to do. I know Pam and our CFO, we worked like crazy to make that happen, but I want to applaud the board for pushing and making that happen. So thank you for your work. I'm going to give you some milestones. I think today stated last year we were here the first day in the new building celebrating the life of Jerry and the legacy that he left us for being all about adult learning and leadership and growth. And so what I'm going to do is cover some really critical milestones here, and I'm going to try to be brief because we do have a commitment of time. One of the things I want to show you is this. The bottom left-hand corner, right-hand corner of that says June 11th, 2003. And when I was hired as the superintendent of Georgetown ISD in June of 2014, Scott Allerton was critical in my transition and said, you need to meet some important people in town. Some of you are in this room. Leslie Yonchuk was in that room, was one of those. George and Barbara Brightwell, Barbara Pierce, tons of great leaders in our community. One of them was Bob Brent. And if you don't know Bob Brent, you're missing something. But Bob Brent is an amazing advocate for our community. And Bob Brent brought that document to this meeting. Bob, you didn't think I kept that, did you? We found it. He said, look here, son. He did. And he leaned across the table and put that in front of me and said, we aspire to be a community of excellence. This community is committed to these 4 cornerstones. You need to understand that. We want you to be a great superintendent. We want you to secure our future. And we want to partner with you and help you. But your role to this district is critical to us being a city of excellence. And in that work and in that time, Bob shared with me the cornerstones. If you can't read them, obviously it's education, healthcare, economic development, and public safety. And a lot of the men and women who lead that work are in this room today, whether it's city manager, police chief, and assistant chief, and all the others that are here. Those men and women are critical. That is something that really struck me. I've never gone into a community and had a community leader walk up and say, hey, don't mess it up, buddy. You know, we're a cornerstone, and you need to do your job. But Bob said it in a much more sincere way. But the passion in his face, when he talks about Georgetown and the importance of public education to our community, is something that's never left me. And with that, in 2013, November 2013, a group of trustees got together with district leaders, community leaders, and created a process for strategic planning. And I want to show you some things that they did. It's interesting. in November 2013, they wrote a mission statement. It said, embracing a tradition of diverse educational experiences and extensive community partnerships, the Georgetown Independent School District mission is to empower and inspire all students to lead and serve in a global society by creating world-class learners and engaged citizens through relevant experiences every day. About 2 years later, we went through a revision of that, and that's how we have the mission of inspire and empower every learner to lead, grow, and serve. So the mission that we have today was born from the work that was done in 2013. The group also created some beliefs. This group believes that public education is the foundation of our community. We believe that physical, mental, and emotional health are vital to a well-balanced life. We believe that positive relationships are essential to an individual's development. We believe that learning continues throughout life. We believe that service and volunteerism are valued in our community. We believe that every individual is worthy of respect, and we believe in the possibility and potential of every individual. This team of men and women also created strategic objectives. Every student will receive an academic foundation that will maximize their educational potential. Every student will participate in leadership and service opportunities throughout their education. Every student will have opportunities to explore and expand educational experiences of their choice. That's a heavy phrase right there. Every student will learn through leading-edge technology every day. Every student will value a healthy lifestyle and receive opportunities to address their physical, mental, and emotional needs. They created strategies that we will ensure that our students are served by the most exceptional staff. We will inspire and invite community and corporate engagement. We will actively seek all available funding to accomplish our mission objectives. We will improve educational experiences utilizing relevant technology. And the fifth one's pretty heavy as well. We will redesign our learning model to include customization and innovation at every level. They created parameters. We will make decisions based on what is best for students. We will make all decisions consistent with our belief and mission. We will not confine our thinking to the limits of our existing organization. We will be responsible stewards of our resources. We will embrace change that leads to continuous improvement. We will not allow governmental or institutional restraints to compromise learning opportunities. Those were the words of the Board of Trustees and community members that hired me in June of 2014. In fact, the night they adopted this strategic plan that was built by 300 community members from January to March, said, if you want to work here, this is the work you're charged with doing. And that's a big, hairy, audacious goal. We call those BHAGs, right? When the board handed that document, put that in front of me, that was a very heavy, heavy responsibility. But I've never worked with a community that had more commitment to this is what we want to do for the future. We know we're at this place and we want to do so much more. And we have all of these things we want to do. Are you willing to sign up for that work? And I knew from their commitment that it was a heavy commitment, one that would not be compromised. So from there we began to work. In 2015 we did a curriculum audit. An audit is an audit. It is what it is. It gives you constraints and it gives you some of your strengths. And one of our constraints was we needed a better curriculum management system. So we started figuring out what do we do with that. We needed a better assessment system. We started trying to figure out how we built that. As the testing was changing and accountabilities were changing, we started diving into some deep transformational work. We did a bond election. You've seen Pearl Elementary, the new Pearl. We did Tippett. We've done, this space was created through that bond. A lot of work in the 2015 bond touching all of our campuses. What's amazing is over 70% of the funds in that 2015 bond approved by this community went to some of our poorest zip codes. And I was really proud of that. And we also built the learner profile. There's some people in this room that were critical in building the learner profile, but everything that strategic plan said is, we're really concerned about our kids, their development, their evolution throughout life, and how they are successful adults. So these are the things that the community came up with through our education summits. Hundreds of people participated. We had a design team. As a matter of fact, Suzanne's in the room. She led that process, and many of you, the district leaders in that room, board members were involved. I know John Copeland was heavily involved in that. A ton of you in this room were involved in that. But these are the things that we're trying to grow in our students. So our challenge has been, how do we do this while teaching state standards? How do we balance the two out? And we've been trying to determine how we balance that work. But I was very inspired by the community. Said, this is what we want our students. As a dad, that's what I want, right? As a dad, having a son in college right now and having a daughter that's a freshman in high school and a middle child that's somewhere in between. He's funny. He's a card. The other day, Alex literally looked at me and said, Dad, it's not easy being this good looking. And And he would die if he knew I said that, if you know Al said that. So, builds and models respectful relationships. Our kids need to be able to work on teams. You know good and well, if you talk to many of your business owners, kids need to be able to problem solve, they need to be able to work on teams. How do we create learning experiences, teachers and standards that allow the kids to progress in the state-required curriculum while building these qualities and attributes? And that's not easy work. And our teachers have owned this. They have gone through a ton of learning. It's been a challenge. And I will tell you, bless our teacher's soul and our staff for doing this work. 2016 milestone. You heard Jensen talk about our first day of the district. We launched our curriculum writing, which has been heavy work. That's an ongoing process. We're always monitoring adjustments. Teachers provide feedback. We make some adjustments here. That work keeps moving on. We refine the strategic plan, and that's where you see that. The beliefs of the strategic plan model the beliefs that were written in 2013. Our actions should be student-centered. We are a foundation of this community. Responsibility to prepare students for their future. What does that look like? That's a very hard question to answer. Developing leaders is vital to our success. Every person who carries a Georgetown ISD name is a leader. They are influencing the behavior of others to a strategic direction. Instruction should be designed based on the needs of our learners. Where are our students when they come to us? How do we modify and adjust instruction so we can meet their needs and help them grow through our system? Community engagement enhances educational experiences. We have the most amazing community, and their commitment to our students is amazing. All of that work, starting in 2013, trying to figure out what does it look like to create a new learning model with customization and innovation at every level. That takes a lot of work. You see the framework starts with relationships, know who our kids are, design, what are the design qualities, how do students learn best, what are the design needs for our students, engaging work, how do we create more work that is meaningful, that the students are committed, they're persistent, they find meaning and value in their work, so they have a deeper, more profound experience. And then learning. We must all model learning for our students. All of that with the learner profile at the heart. That's the work we've been doing for the last several years. In 2017, we started a journey towards true accountability. True accountability is not running from the state accountability system. We'll always have that, and we recognize that, and we want to do better in that system. But there's a deeper level of accountability, and I'll speak to that in just a moment. 2018 bond, you see the Williams Elementary, the Wolf Ranch Elementary, the Ford Elementary expansion. We're excited about those campuses opening up in this coming school year. We've done our turf fields, updated track, baseball at GHS, middle school concession stands. That was funny. You want to have an interesting meeting. You go to a meeting with middle school parents about football fields, and they're like, what about restrooms? Like, what do you mean restrooms? Oh my gosh. We quickly had to go back and make sure we put restrooms and concession stands at middle school football fields because I wasn't going to leave that meeting in a very healthy way if I did not make that happen. And so, 2018 bond, there's more security systems, radio systems, the buses we're excited about. We also had a $1.3 million grant to go on top of these buses to help renovate our fleet, and we're excited about the West Side Transportation Center. We feel like it was good to get the buses off of Williams Drive. David Morgan was happy we did that, and we've leveled that property. That should go up for sale soon, but there's that piece there. Every elementary got new furniture if there was not a new elementary. And also this year, when mapping out our future, you probably heard Dr. Hallmark speak a little bit about how we secure our future with growth. And you can see that we bought 135 acres there off DD Wood. Right there in front of that water tower to the left is where the site of the 3rd Comprehensive High School is projected to be. We're growing at 3.6% every year. We expect it this year, which we've had more growth this year than previous years, and we're excited about that. 2019 highlights, we had some fun, we had some championships for swim at GHS, Eastview Culinary Arts, the kids shoving sweets in your face all day. Those guys are rock stars, right? Chef Jimenez is amazing, and the program that they've built. We were honored to be recognized by the Chamber as we are the largest employer in the community, and we enjoy and appreciate and truly respect the partnership we have with the Chamber. And we've been working hard. We've hired some new principals and been more strategic with some of our leadership positions. One of the things in 2013 is that we won't be constrained by the limits of the current organizational structure. That's what that belief is. We started redefining leadership roles within the system, so it's not building everything based on what it was in the past, but how does leadership need to evolve to secure the future? Our job is to secure the future. In cosmetology, I know Gordon's in the room. I'm not going to point him out, but who doesn't know Gordon Logan? But what a partnership with the Chamber, with Gordon Logan. Do you know that it takes almost $20,000 for a young person to fund their way through the cosmetology program if they were not to do it on their own. Right now we have over 40 students in cosmetology. When they graduate high school, if they complete this program, they can leave GISD ready to work. And Gordon's promised them all a job at Sport Clips. No, he hasn't. He did not. He didn't promise them a job at Sport Clips. But anyway, allegedly they could get a job at Sport Clips. So, I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry. Why would you mess with Gordon Logan? I don't know. Okay, let's talk about state accountability. This is a very important conversation to have. Yes, the state put A through F out a couple of years ago. This year was the first time campuses were ranked. Yes, as a district, we're rated a B. But I'll tell you, we have 4 campuses that either have an F or a D rating, and we don't like that either. We've had a lot of conversations about that with community members. The bottom line is, the accountability system has not been our priority. The overall well-being of our students has been. But we know we want those scores to go up. We know there's going to be a state accountability system. And I don't want anyone in our community to have a D or an F label. I don't like that either. But we also have to find the right balance. How do we get kids there appropriately and not compromise their social and emotional learning in the process? I've heard a lot of superintendents say, I can get you high test scores, but you might not like what I have to do to get it, and the programs I will cut to do that. And so our teachers and our students need to grow as a whole child and as a complete person. We want those scores to go up, and you'll see some commitments that we have to making that happen. But I'll liken accountability to this. I just turned 50 last year, okay? And when you're 50 years old and you go to the doctor, the physicals are a lot different. And they check more things. But when I go to the doctor, when I sit there, I stood on the scale and they took my weight, right? And that's the measure. And then they went in, they draw blood, and they check your cholesterol, your high blood pressure, all of your blood chemical levels. Well, liken it to this. If my physical or your physical is based only on your weight, it says nothing about how you're doing internally. It just says what you weigh. But it's a measure, and it's an important measure, but is your weight the only measure at your physical? I would think not. I would think my blood pressure is a big concern. I would think my cholesterol level is a big concern. And I would not want anyone judged just on their weight. And so that's how I liken the accountability system. When we talk to you about wanting true accountability, we want to talk to you about the hopes and dreams of your children. What are the hopes and dreams of our children, and what evidence do you need to see from us that will tell you those things are happening? That's why we'll want to talk about learner profile development. How do we show growth in learner profile? We're trying to find our way through that. Guys, this is heavy transformational work. The work that we were charged with in 2013 and 2014 is pushing on today. It started long before we were here, and it's important that we do all we can to secure the future of this community. And we will get there. The accountability rating, the D's and F's, we want them to go away as well. We're trying to find the right balance. I appreciate your patience with us. I appreciate you being willing to engage in conversations about what does a true accountability for Georgetown look like. That's a heavier accountability than it is by just a state measure. It's more work. It is heavier work. And I want you to be able to have a card that says, you know what, here's our state rating, and here's the things that Georgetown cares about as well. And the two can walk side by side. Okay? I just think we are kids more than a deeper measure of their overall health. We have a video. So we thought, let's go ask people what they think. And we didn't know what we were going to get back, but the team went out and made that happen. What I want to do is talk to you about our beliefs in moving forward. We believe, and we have, I'm almost 10 minutes over, I'm trying to be quick. There's only maybe 2 slides left, this one and one more. But these are the beliefs in moving forward. The beliefs that started years ago have evolved, and we're still honoring what was started in 2013 by the work of you in this community. Many of you are in this room today, and you can see those beliefs. Your engagement truly does enhance our children's lives. Thank you for all that work. And here's what I believe. Here, I'm supposed to talk about that. I didn't talk about today's work before we launch out of here. Our board has started adopting priorities in 2019. Our board priorities are learner profile development, social emotional learning, college career military readiness, and literacy and numeracy. We want to show academic growth every year for every child. Our dream is that every child will be on grade level or above by 3rd grade in reading and math. I don't know when we'll get there, but we will always pursue that.
Community-based accountability will continue to pursue that true accountability. And one of the things that we talk about a lot in our work is we want to continue to pursue competitive compensation plans for our employees. And so I can tell you that the Board of Trustees I introduced you a while ago, they pursue this heavily. They hold us accountable for this work, and they are charging forward with a vision that began in 2013. There's the beliefs that are continuing to honor that work and that are launching us into the future. And here's the things I believe. So our vision of being home to the most inspired students, serve and the most empowered leaders, I believe in that. I believe that when we inspire our students, give them the skills and permission to pursue their passions, to explore new learning, they're going to be successful adults. I believe in our mission of inspiring and empowering every learner to lead, grow, and serve. We want to grow leaders, whether leaders of themselves and leaders in the community. A growth mindset, always open to new learning. Serve. We need to have a servant's heart. I truly believe in that mission. And lastly, I believe that Georgetown, Texas deserves the school district's best efforts to maintain the direction that was started years ago when this community committed to the 4 cornerstones that make us a community of excellence. Our hopes and dreams are to bring your hopes and dreams to life. We want to honor the work that began years before. One of the things about Georgetown that makes us unique, you heard Coach Farney talk about it, we have a lot of traditions. There's one tradition that I always like to talk about that just really shook me to the core one day when I was walking the halls of one of our high schools and I heard a group of students singing and discovered that that was a tradition that they had started a long, long time ago. No one knows really when. So our challenge for the future is, how do we honor our past? How do we do great work now, looking forward to the future with hope and aspirations for our children to be productive and secure the future of Georgetown, Texas? That's the work that we're trying to do. I hope I was able to go through several highlights. There's so much more to tell, guys. How do I do that in 25 minutes? Just didn't talk too long. So, he did. But I wanted you to understand that the work we're doing is at the core of Georgetown, Texas. And I'm convinced if we stay the course, we'll find the right balance on state testing and on growing the whole child. We'll get there. We want all of our children to be outstanding, successful citizens. And I'm inspired by you, the community. I'm inspired by our students. If you couldn't be inspired by this group, you need to go see your doctor for your physical. Because I'm going to tell you right now, there's something wrong. These kids are amazing.